Hello and welcome to the SODAX Tech Update. SODAX infrastructure for modern money. Cross-network DeFi you can use or build on across 17 plus networks. And we say plus because we keep adding networks. Right, I'm sitting here with Fez, who's going to tell us all about the April tech updates, what's happened, what's been happening around SODAX, what improvements are we seeing, and what can we get excited about. Fez, welcome.
Thank you. Excited to run through what is gonna be just 10 minutes, David. Just 10 minutes.
It always is. It always is. I guess we're going to have a look at your big, colorful board full of cards, what has been done, what hasn't been done. If you're wondering what, no, I'll keep the nuggets till the end. I was going to say, if you're wondering what has already been done in March, go and read my update on X. But you know what? You might just talk to these points as well. So dive right in.
Okay, I did like the update. It was killer. Okay, let's add this beautiful Notion. This time I actually gone into Notion so I can click on stuff, and if I need to make changes. But I have also updated everything. So let's fly along. Bitcoin is moved into progress. It's actually a fair way done. In fact, RadFi, we have a new partner. It's using on their protocol, and they were able to do it because of some reason. But no, the way the implementation works is because they launched it on Bitcoin first, the solver didn't need to cater for Bitcoin itself. It was able to support Sol and ETH, which is what we were bringing onto Bitcoin, the blockchain, yes. Bitcoin.
Yes.
So we saw RadFi ship using our tech, but we haven't finished the solver integration to native Bitcoin. And what that is the ability for the solver to deliver native BTC through, say, like Balanced or other partners potentially, right? Like RadFi's infrastructure was built that way, so there was one component that they didn't require from us, but that's the only thing pending. And at the moment, I've actually seen some testing happening today. So I think this final piece for Bitcoin, where it's completely done, SDK published, any partner can use by mid-April. That should be done and dusted.
So the story is indeed that RadFi has officially launched with their SODAX integration. You can now swap on the RadFi app in and out of Bitcoin from either your Solana or your Ethereum or your USD on Ethereum. However, all the other builders building with SODAX, building with the SODAX SDK on whichever network, they have had to wait a bit longer before they can actually also access this native Bitcoin swapping. And are you telling us now that they have to wait a little bit longer?
Yeah, like it is in the final stage of testing at the moment. It's in actual staging, I believe. There's so many things going through at the moment because with the migration and trying to get, so my brain's a bit frazzled. But Bitcoin piece, yes, it's in staging. That 1 week it spends getting tested, and then we'll go into production. So, but the SDK components, all those pieces are actually done. It's just waiting this final solver piece that's getting tested through the testing pipeline we've set up. But yes, so worst case scenario, mid-April, a fairly early April, I'm saying. Yeah. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Then a whole lot of these cards actually got closed today. In my updates, I just had it closed, but I can quickly talk through them. So a lot of, this one got done. This has like been there forever. Ever. When are we going to integrate the SODAX AMM, which is the AMM that is on Sonic, as part of our infrastructure. And what was holding up the whole migration, we needed to get the solver integrated, and then we migrate the NOL. It could have happened sooner, but our AMM is slightly unique, as in it's not using the bare bone assets. For example, we have 5 major pools. now. It was meant to be much lower, but it's not all our NOL that's gone back into pools. It's just the big assets, BTC, ETH, and then SODA token, SODA, and the SODA BNUSD. And then we're supporting injective BNUSD because there's no AMMs for injective on injective anymore. And they have order books, and for the solver to support that, that's a whole nother build. So it was just easier to move the liquidity we had into our AMM. But what's unique about our AMM is the injective BTC ETH is actually interest bearing that's paired with BNUSD. So we've got it on our money market, and then the money market tokens go into the LP.
Yep.
Which means that and remember, it's INOL, right? So POL now. So it's earning interest. And now once balance launch, which is pretty exciting, V2, and users start borrowing, etc. NOL by default will start earning some interest because it's there as collateral. So kind of a way to double tap it. But that's a long story to say SODAX AMM is done, which means migration off NOL is done and the card is closed. Oh, so many closed cards.
Good stuff.
What else?
Can I just clarify? Whoever's listening in thinking AMM, like what is that, a DEX? Is SODAX running a DEX somewhere? I just want to make the point that the AMM that is SODAX has running on Sonic, the hub chain, the logic chain, is merely a part of the broader SODAX system. It makes SODAX operate the way it does. It enables builders on any network to, work with fast cross-network intents. So the SODAX AMM, just like the SODAX money market, are for internal use by the SODAX system, because the SODAX system, it's not just a bridge, it's not just a solver, it is a lot of puzzle pieces that come together to deliver the best cross-network builder experience for apps. And that's the point I want to drive home, because one listening in might think that we're launching consumer-facing products here, but these are system components. What you're telling us right now is it has been deployed. NOL, now called POL, has migrated in there, and we're off to the races.
Yep. Yes, exactly. And those final pieces of migrating off Icon is kind of, we've been ticking all the boxes. I mean, that stuff isn't even on the board, but we've thanks to all the validators, we've shut the emissions, we've shrunk the chain. So right now Icon's running, but there's no emissions, there's nothing. It's just basically the chain's just churning away while we wait for those exchanges, David. And so
love them. If they're listening, I love them. And we're doing great. And it's amazing. So that's what we're waiting for. Yes.
Yep. And then the final piece was the balance. So I think there's still loans on balance. V2 is out. I think they've announced 7th of April. So then people will be able to, and I know this is going to be a tedious process, but unwind the loan a little bit, move it to V2, take a new loan, and then you kind of got to go back and forth if you're leveraged up, hopefully very safely leveraged up, but that is a process. There's no way to avoid it, but you'll be able to do that from the 7th of April, and then that will kind of be the last piece of major infrastructure apart from the migration, exchange supported migration. So quite a lot has happened that also led to the NOL getting migrated. So that's done. Next thing, NEAR. So this is one card isn't there, but I can update. So NEAR, the chain integration. So the typical stack, right? So we've integrated NEAR. Partners can consume it via the SDK and have markets, CDP, loans, money markets, loans, BNUSD, so CDP style, and solver integration, the stack basically for NEAR. That's done. It's published and it's live on mainnet, fully audited as well. So that's great. And then there's a second part of this that isn't on a card anywhere, but it's the solver being critical infrastructure, we can now take it into different components. We can take the solver and plug it into different protocols and get it to work there, which brings direct value to the SODA token. So we have in the background also been plugging it in to Neo Intense. Too many plugs, I know. And we've done it. It's live on Neo Intense. It is in a very reduced capacity and few assets. So at the moment, we've got it on Neo Intense. We've got $1,000 of liquidity on USDC, NEAR, ETH, and Sol. Okay, so basically $5,000, 1,000 each, and it's been running for the last week, although last day it's been off for optimizations. But yeah, so what I'm trying to paint is, so while we're doing all this stuff and trying to get partners, we're also kind of going and plugging in our critical infrastructure into other partners where we don't need anyone's permission or anything like that. And the goal is that, hey, yeah, let's see if we can win some volume via that, which then brings value to the SODA token. So that is also live as well as part of this NEAR build. There were two separate builds, but they enable each other, and we are live there,
well done.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done, Fez. Well done,
no.
Fez.
All the guys working away.
It took me a while to get my head around the possibilities and opportunities. Like I just said, there's many puzzle pieces that form together the SODAX system, and our solver is one of them. But the solver, I think the solver is like the quarterback or the fly half of the team. Like it's the superstar, maybe you could argue. It's not the unsung hero. It's up on the forefront, and we can actually send it out and go and do its magical thing elsewhere. So indeed, when there's other, intent marketplaces where a lot of people swap, or where a lot of apps and products are swapping, we can plug the solver into there as well to go compete. And whenever it does better than the competition, it wins the trades. And it's just as if it would have been a trade in the SODAX, through the SODAX SDK by one of our own builders or apps. But instead, it's done externally. And that kind of opens up a world of volume for the system. And like you just said, the value flows back to the SODA asset holders, as there is a 20% burn built into every chunk of fee that we take, and we buy protocol owned liquidity from it with another 20%. We won't
50
bang. We don't dive too far in SODA asset tokenomics now, but the value comes back to the holder. And what I love is that it's not us putting all our eggs in one SODAX SDK basket, but that we're able to, explore other routes that will generate volume for the system. So that's just a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing when it works.
Yes. And look, there's trial and error there. Like I know when we talk about this, people are like, what are the volume? I'm one of those people. But again, that's why it's like it's $1,000. You can only trade up to I think 500 off that. I think there's a cap and $200 to settle, in trades. So a bit of trial and error, but we're live and getting a ton of data, constant refinement on it to be more successful in winning those quotes. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Okay, but it's a good start. It's looking very promising, and kind of excited to get the next revision of fixes in to see how we compete, and new assets like SUI and a few others on there, so that we have more range of quotes we can win. Next one then, SODAX staking frontend. In fact, this was actually in the backlog, David. Last time we spoke, no work had started on this, and we've actually delivered it into production in the month, end to end. So users are using it. It's marked as complete. I just wanted it done. So SODAX staking front end is built and shipped. Next up, the LayerZero. So this is also done. I'm seeing what I updated last time. Yes, it's live in production. It's getting used. I've closed it. So assets like USDTO, those versions now, the solver will automatically bridge it across LayerZero where and how when it needs to, which is fantastic. And it opens up also for us to serve potential partners like Lightlink, for example. Their token is the LayerZero OFT standard, so we can now source liquidity from Ethereum or Base and deliver it to Lightlink, routing it through LayerZero's infrastructure, right? So, which is pretty cool.
So does my like puzzle analogy hold here? We have our AMM, we have our solver, we also have our SODAX relays, which essentially take care of the bridging. These are our own bridging infrastructure. But if any builder or app wants, and LayerZero is available on the networks of choice, then we can basically take out that puzzle piece that is the SODAX relays, and we can put in the puzzle piece that is the LayerZero bridging infrastructure, and you are still able to use SODAX end to end. Does that work?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what this is. So this is quite important actually, because there is a lot of networks that have invested in LayerZero integrations. There are a lot of apps and projects that have invested in LayerZero compatibility because it's such a broadly carried bridging standard. And it's important that, you know, these apps and builders, they might realize, hey, we have a great app, we have bridging infrastructure, but one of the things they run into is, hey, we're lacking liquidity, because even if you have a LayerZero bridging implementation into your product, you still need trading liquidity on both networks to be able to actually facilitate these swaps and trades. If you don't have that, then it's going to be tough to operate your app. If you use SODAX, it becomes a lot easier, because SODAX not only, you know, helps you with the trading and swapping across networks, but also helps you tap into this liquidity pool that lives across 17 plus networks. And we say plus because we keep adding networks. Yeah, that's the spiel, and that's why I like this one. Yeah, if you're in bed with LayerZero bridging, don't worry, SODAX will get in bed with you as well. we can all get in bed.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Then the next one I've covered, that was closed off last time. So a few other things that I've just thrown quite a lot into the on hold column. So this SODAX savings front end application, look, it's done. It's fully tested, working, but shipping it to mainnet currently is on hold. And I think at the moment the focus, let's get Balance is about to launch. It's got, you know, the end-to-end component. We need existing Balance users. There should be no confusion of who needs to go, right? Like, so Balance users, when Balance launched, you migrate to Balance. There's that was always the game plan. So for now, just move this to hold. So if people are sitting there wondering why it's happening, it's done. It's just, we'll bring it back when we want to release it after later. So at the moment, the focus will be on partners and supporting our partners, and Balance is one of them. So this one's on hold. The Red Belly, so we were blocked by lack of liquidity on their chain and their AMM. I have since found out yesterday they've added, finally this week, they got through adding some liquidity. So I'll move this to unblocked once we have some capacity again to work through it, because, you know, the solver needs to, basically all components go through a week of testing. So I've got to find time to slot it in. It's like a train, you know, it needs to go through the motion. So this one will come off hold soon. Giwa, I haven't heard anything from Upbit yet about their layer 2, but that's why I've just moved it to hold. SODAX loans, same thing. No actual work has started on the loans component. Intense hooks, and this is something I covered last time, was on hold. It's still on hold. The leverage staking is on hold. However, leverage staking hook. However, I have created a new card. We're working on this via another feature, which I can talk about now. So I've created a few new cards to just show what we're kind of focusing in on the next 3 months. And the next 3 months focus. So we've finished off the migration. Now it's just the little bits that are remaining that you heard me talk about. The rest of the stuff needs to get migrated off Icon, get the fees moving. So now that we have everything moved, we can start. Once staking and stuff is about to launch, then we can start automating that fee so people can see what's happening. And then a few other features that we really need, and one of them, so the leverage staking, we're going to build as a vault. So vaults are basically the simplest way. Like you create a vault, it's kind of an automation where a user chooses to take part of that vault, and that vault does some strategy of some kind. So in our case, the first vault is going to be a leverage staking vault, and the goal there is it's leverage staking for LSTs staking. So the example I give here is like, currently you can leverage stake, and what that is like you can take your ETH, for example, take 1 ETH, you stake it at ETHify. You get staked ETH. Now you're earning 3.5% on that ETH, right? Then you go, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to Aave or go to a money market and put this staked ETH and borrow, right? So I put it there. You barely get any interest on it, but you're earning staking rewards. And then because it's collateral now, you can go and borrow ETH. So the users will go borrow ETH, borrow up to a certain amount of ETH, and they've designed this kind of these assets on Aave. It's called e-modes, and they let you pretty much borrow 1-to-1, almost 1-to-1 of the asset, because they're the same price correlation. So even if there's dips, they both dip together. So that the risk of liquidation, unless there's an Oracle failure, which did happen a month ago, and Aave's refunding, but that risk of actual liquidation from price fluctuation is not there. So again, back to the scenario. So staked ETH, gone to the money market, borrowed more ETH, and then done the same thing again with the borrowed ETH. I've gone, staked it, added it to the money market, borrowed more ETH, and that's what's called a leverage loop. So then suddenly you've taken your 1 ETH and then staked it, which is earning 3.5, but you've looped it like 6 or 7 times up to a certain point. You can't go to infinity. There's some rules there. So you're basically generating like almost 8% interest off that 1 ETH, right? But that process, like you literally have to do it manually, and then you have to make sure that you're not paying more interest on the ETH you're borrowing. That's where it caps out, right? So there's a fine line, and it always fluctuates, because if more ETH enters the money market, the borrow rates drop, which means you can borrow and loop more. So if you were doing it manually, you kind of have to keep an eye on all these things. So here comes the vault. It's like, well, how do we make this very simple for the user? It sounds great. I want to take part, but I just can't be bothered doing the loops and then monitoring it constantly. So the vault is, we build this particular piece as a vault where a user just enters it. You can deposit, and in the vault will then is created with that automation in place and put all those guardrails and the ability to scale up and scale down. And essentially, when you put it in, you get your share, you get a token share of what you put into the vault, and then you can go and claim it when you want. So from a user perspective, it's 1 click in, 1 click out, and you get whatever the vault's configuration is. In this case, it is exactly what I explained, leveraged LST looping. So and the best part is, obviously, because we're multi-chain, once this vault is done, it'll be applicable for every LS, like proof of stake asset. So we're talking, ETH, you go SUI, you got well, everything that has a potential, can be staked. We'll have the ability to loop through our money market.
You say users get access. You mean that builders building with the SODAX SDK get access and will probably build it into their products, providing yield to their end users. Yeah,
that's right. It opens up another option for builders to do this, and it utilizes the same infrastructure, right? We've got the money markets, etc. Like I use Aave. We've not hidden this. Like we're using Aave's code for the base money market. It's the most secure. Why wouldn't we? So on our case, we created this vault, and then builders will be able to kind of go, yep, we want to create this experience where it's a leveraged stake loop. They can call it whatever they want, but the infrastructure will be built where they just have to design a front end, and in the background, it's using our infrastructure to do the work.
And it's a great addition to the SODAX SDK, because when I was working at HANA, we were building this app, we were building this experience, and one thing users want in any product that is in Web3 is yield or access to yield. And being able to offer that with the source of the yield being one of the most, you can't use the word safe in Web3 because nothing is safe, and Drift protocol just got hacked for 200 million overnight. So you can't say safe, but staking yields are like the OG yields in blockchain. It directly correlates to the security of the network, and being able to facilitate a strategy on top of that works across networks, I think is brilliant. So if we'd be the first to bring this into the product as soon as the SDK gets updated with it. So let us know. Done next week?
No, I wish. So contracts have finally been finished, and they're going through reviews and stuff. So I think after that, there's the SDK. So then builders can consume it. But I think before we release that as well, we'll get a round of audits on the vaults themselves. So it's not next week or anything like that. But
it's coming.
It's coming. It's a new feature that has started work on a few weeks back, and in progress.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll come back to path splitting. The other thing we're working on, so we've got integrated LayerZero and into the solver, and we're doing the same thing now for CCTP. Now, we have done CCTP work before, and people may be like, oh, this has happened. We built it, and it's a manual at the moment. We've integrated into our stack, so we are able to move our USDC around from chain to chain, because sometimes it depends on arbitrage or whatever's happening. We may get like a buttload of our USDC sitting on one chain. Now it needs to get to all the chains, or there needs to be a bit of a buffer across all the chains. It doesn't happen automatically. So we built a CCTP integration, and we can manually move these funds around. And all I mean by that is like the NOL. So we can push the NOL from one chain to another via CCTP. Okay. So the next evolution in this is like how we did LayerZero. So essentially, the solver will be able to go, hey, users wanting to swap, 100,000 SUI to Arbitrum USDC. And when they go to do the swap, yes, we have the liquidity, the pools can support it, but we don't have the USDC on Arbitrum. So the solver will, through CCTP, be able to go, oh, but we have the USDC here, 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 here. Let me bridge it across to get it delivered. So, which is something we don't have that automation, basically. And that's what this will be.
You don't watch Formula One, do you?
No, you have given me the rundown. And I did just watch that Brad Pitt movie. I found that quite entertaining.
Highly representative. I
figured it was like a like. It was based on a true story, right? The guy was a genius.
That was a documentary, Fez, and
Oh, I knew it. It was so real.
they kick off the season with a car, and sometimes the rules change up a bit, so they need to tweak the car. This is a big year for that. But throughout, they have a race, maybe 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row, and then they have 4 weeks off. They travel the world with it. They keep improving the car, and the person or the car who's fastest at the beginning of the season isn't necessarily the fastest at the end. It's however fast the teams can not just upgrade the car, bring upgrades, bring updates, but also how well are they analyzing the performance while it runs race by race. So every lap the car does is a win for an emerging team because they get more data. And as I'm listening to you, speak to the SODAX system, it feels like a Formula One car in a sense that we're, improving it, upgrading it, but we're also putting it in places and letting it perform and then monitoring how it's performing. And then we upgrade and update, and then we double down on what's working. I feel like we should just sponsor an F1 team, Fez.
I mean, why not? Why not? You aren't you head of marketing? Like,
I believe the F1 sponsorship is a couple of years in the future. I think they're some of the most expensive ones. That and Real Madrid shirts. But
we'll
iterating, improving, adding features, measuring performance, and just keep working with a massive team of engineers. It's all like for like. So that's what this reminds me of, and it's exciting because I know what we're learning, and we're trying to convey that to the listener. This is a real nugget of a product. So let's keep going.
Yeah. Okay, so path splitting. The reason why I skipped this, so this is a big piece. I would say 3-4 months at least. Maybe sooner, thanks to AI, and more so not because of coding it, more that it helps prototype algorithms for path splitting, algorithms for finding the best price through the best paths. Whereas before, you'd need quite a few people and work through a buttload of math. Now you can kind of have the AI work through the math to validate your proof of concept. And I talk about this a little bit confidently because, our header on Solver, the tech lead on Solver, who has this experience, has shared, in the past, what all work has to happen in the arbitrage and that kind of game, and where these algorithms and how they get optimized versus, when he's revisited and started working through some of that stuff today with AI, like stuff that would take 8-9 months is getting done in days, So I'm still saying 3 months, but who knows? We may get some wins here. But the goal of this is, right, we've got the solver, we've got it hooked into everything. So you can see it right now if you follow on SODAX Scan, which I have constantly up. It's like I sleep with it. And so you'll do a swap, and you'll do something like today I did a swap for something to USDC on Arbitrum to Sonic, right? And if you follow the swap on Sonic Scan, you'll actually see, messages get sent from SUI. The reason, even though the swap had nothing to do with it, in that quote, the solvers looked at all the pools it's connected to and the assets, and SUI has, USDC with ETH, etc. So when it's finding the quote, it'll find, hey, wait a minute, even though I need to deliver this on Arbitrum, I'm getting a good quote for this asset on SUI. So it gives me the USDC, and then the solver goes off and rebalances itself using liquidity on SUI, and then does bridging, whatever it needs to, because it's found a better rate for these two assets that aren't actually SUI, chain assets or anything. But there's liquidity pools on SUI, and it's basically found a good quote through those pools. So that's great. But the way the current system works is if I do $1,000, $500, $8,000, it does it as one giant swap. Okay, so while, and this is really important to understand, because as you know, when in any AMM, you go on anything, you go to swap $50, you go to swap $500, you'll see a bit of slippage, because suddenly the pools, depending on the pool liquidity and a few other things, you go to swap $5,000, again, you see more slippage. But what you'll start to see happening is once you go to the bigger amounts, 5,000, 10,000, it's now, if you see the route, you'll notice that that swap isn't just one big swap. It just doesn't go, hey, I'll swap $5,000 of ETH to 5,000 USDC in one batch through one pool. You'll actually notice on different AMMs, it will route it through 4 different pools. It'll break it up into 3 swaps and route it through 3 pools to get you a better rate. And that better rate comes from, well, if the 5,000 is broken up into 3 into smaller chunks, slippage is lower, which means you're getting more money at the end of it. Now, why am I explaining all of this? Because currently our solver doesn't split path in any way, shape, or form. For us to get competitive, like that's why you'll see most of our quotes that we win on competing platforms is 0 to 500 to sometimes even 5,000. But that's it. We're not going to win the bigger trades, because anything bigger, you have to basically break up the assets and run it through different pools to minimize slippage and get the best rates. Yeah. And a great example is Pancake Swap. Like if you go and just trade BNB and do $100,000 worth of BNB to USDT, there you'll literally see a little routing thing. And if you click on it, you'll see how, if you just did one BNB where it just runs it through one pool, or if you then do, the large amounts, how much it breaks it and it routes it into 3 different pools, and it still gets you a better deal than just doing a big swap. So this piece of work is not about it, because of the way we're connected. In the first example I gave you, that even though we're doing a swap, I was doing a swap from Sonic to Arbitrum, it routed liquidity from SUI. So part of our path splitting is, it's not to just split it on the chain's AMM that the swap's going to or wherever. It is about the solver looking at everything it's connected to and go, hey, can I split this across 5 chains in 8 different pools and get a better rate and deliver the assets? So this is the work that this entails. And when done, we will then start to, the more stuff we keep integrating, our path splitting automatically just takes advantage of it, and in a unified way. That unified liquidity, it truly is a solver. We literally use every ecosystem's liquidity to find the best path, not just the native chain's assets pools on that chain. So it's a big thing. I'm pretty excited about this. We've prototyped it, and we know it works, but now it's actually about building. The building part is the hard part.
It is, but this is once built and working. This is the step that allows us to pour more liquidity into certain pools. Is not the right way of saying it. I think it allows us to raise the limits of swaps on platforms. Not just SODAX SDK powered apps and products, but also external platforms where we send the solver out to go and compete. Yeah, and that directly means we can process more volume. So this is an important and big one.
Yeah. So, and this work's just starting. So expect this. I'll keep everyone updated, challenges, things we face, but this is a big piece. We need to do it to stay competitive. But at this point, all the work has been focused on migration, stability, and things like that. And things are stable now. Yes, I know there's been outages here and there, but a lot of the cases is third parties that we rely on. At times, we do take things offline if we suspect foul play of any kind. which, yeah, maybe we're a bit button sensitive, just to being safe than sorry, but yeah. Okay, and the last one now, this one I wanted to highlight as well. So, you know, we've been talking SDKs. So if you remember, SDKs have never been the strength of us. We never had one. When we did the new infrastructure, this was the goal. Everything has to be an SDK, easy for partners to consume. With so much happening, like, you know, we got things working. It's 100-fold better than it was. But now when we look at it, it's like, okay, there's a bit of legacy code. There's just a few packages that we bundle together from a wallet's perspective. And part of V2 is to go, okay, let's now simplify this, right? Let's do a next iteration of the SDK, really simplify it with all the feedback, the bugs that we have fixed, but we know there are bigger bugs that require re-architecturing of how the SDK is put together. And that's what this piece of work is. And the final piece is as well, like, you know, LLM optimization. So what does that mean? Not LLMs putting the SDK together. It is the consumption of the SDK for LLM. So just like a great example would be in V2 of the SDK. You can do this for V1. I have, but it took me 3 days to get stuff working. But in V2, the goal is that you could one-shot kind of go to Claude Code. Here's the SDK. This is it has this functionality. In fact, you don't even need to tell it anything. Here's an SDK. Could you review it and create a plan of what we could build through this SDK? And Claude Code, big thanks to V2 and how we've optimized every component, should be able to put together, this is this feature set you could build with this SDK. What do you want to do? And build out a plan, and off it goes into building it out with wallet integrations and stuff like that, the tricky components. So
yes,
that's what this is. This is not this is maximum, I'm told 2 weeks, let's say a month. I'm told 2 weeks. I think people tell me 2 weeks, David, to keep me happy. But yeah, 2 weeks, refactoring, redoing everything, testing, etc. And then we'll be able to publish this, and it should make integration even simpler. Now, there's more to this, but I'll leave it at that. That's the first phase. Yeah. And then the second phase, we'll build like 2-click APIs, David. It's all about the 2 clicks. So, and we'll talk about that next. That's right. That's right. Next dev update. But I think this is everything.
This is as much a volume play in my eyes as the path splitting. In this case, the agentic consumption of our SDK is so important. Over the last month, we saw a massive bump in the usage of our builders MCP server. So that's the connector that allows AIs to build with, you know, the SODAX product suite. It just massively ticked up. Lots of tool calls, lots of people experimenting with it, using it, trying to build their own SODAX powered swapping and trading apps. And in a way, it makes sense because you do get to set your own fee. SODAX flat fee 0.1%. If you have a strong brand and you want to tie a swap or trade or money market or yield product to your brand, slap your own fee on top. I believe MetaMask themselves do it, and they go up to 1% fee. I saw an overview the other day. Don't quote me on it, but yeah, you could technically, you know, be making more than we do building with SODAX. If anything, that's the goal for us. It's to you know, provide a easy and quick way to integrate and to build in the background, take minor fee, and for the rest on trades and routing, the rest is all free to use, and go use it to your advantage. So we're seeing that with the builders MCP, and if you make our SDK even easier to consume by AI, by builders who use AI, I think that is a volume play. Like that's just going to open up to a lot more people, a lot more apps building. So that's a good one. And the fact that you're saying it'll take you know, a couple of weeks to get those improvements in is even more exciting. I think that's good. And then
a month. I said a month, David. I said a month.
2 months. The end is near. That's it, isn't it? That's the end of the board.
That's it. Yeah.
Great overview. Just took us 10 minutes as always. I think if there's nothing else to add, we can we can wave by. Say thanks to our listeners.
Only
Like
10
and
minutes.
subscribe. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Didn't you say the best for last? You had something to add?
Did I?
Yes. You didn't say it. And people hung around all the way.
I was alluding to, oh, this is going to be a nothing burger if you've already read the updates, if you've been around for the past month, but the sheer fact that we've plugged in Bitcoin into the SODAX SDK is a big one. And
that's the first thing I spoke about. You're like, stay till the end, and I just talked about Bitcoin the first thing.
I can't remember if it was something else, but if anything, follow, like, and subscribe, and you might see it show up later. Thanks, Fez, for giving us the rundown and the updates. As always, back to work we go. Listeners, thank you very much. Have a great Easter if you haven't already had it by the time of listening. And yeah, we'll see you all next time. Bye.